All right, track feedback. What's up, everybody? Happy Saturday. Happy birthday yesterday to me. And thank you to everybody who said happy birthday and sent me funny comments and gifts and pictures and turn off my cell phone. By the way, hot tip. Every time you answer your phone, if you go like, hey, my battery's about to die, then you can just hang up on the person and they won't know. Whoa, turn off the background mic. All right, so one more quick peek into Discord. I think I just grabbed all the tracks. Thanks for everybody for getting the tracks in before 12, because that helps. Was that something? No. And as soon as I can scroll up through this Discord thing, the track we're listening to right now, I just uploaded some stems because Matt Schultz was asking me for it. And I put it into... Okay, I don't see any new tracks. Everybody's in here waiting. All right. Steve Knotts, WA subdub, in this thread for the track that I'm working on. I cannot believe how slow this is. There you can see 3 audio stems, the chords, dry, unprocessed, filter with just the effects. I mean the channel effects. And then the wet version with the reverbs and stuff, which sounds like this. And that's going to be the chords channel. Nope, this one. And you're hearing it now with plugins enabled. Let me close Discord so everything stops getting so glitchy. So this is a sample, high pass filter, compression, micro shifter, automated filter going on, and then a reverb. There's the reverb. So I just shared that stem just for the chords. If anybody wants to grab it and play with it, you can grab that. And while we're here, I want to show you what I did with this track. Last time we were listening to the mix and the bottom end was all messed up. And this is like a 2018 track that I started in a different studio without bass treatment, and I kind of like messed up the low end. So for the fix, I guess it's a little mini tutorial, but it's related to track feedback. The first thing I did was I went to the sub bass channel. Turn off my effects. And I was just asking the question, what is happening in the sub bass? What notes are playing? What is the lowest frequency going on? And you can see the lowest note is that low D down there, like 36. So that's super low. The upper notes of the sub bass up here around B, 60 hertz. That's great because that means above 60 up to 120 or something is all the space where I'm going to want to have the kick drum. So in the original mix, was the kick drum in that location? Let's find out. Okay, here's my original kick drum. I was playing around with a high and a low kick layer. And what do we got? 50 hertz. So clearly when the kick was at 50 and the sub bass was all down there in that same region, we were having a total clash of the kick and the sub. And why was I doing high and low kick layers? What was Steve thinking? So I had a scratchy high kick layer. That's like maybe, But the really crazy thing, this one is like a bass note. I listened to this and I was like, you know what we're going to do? We are going to change the kick drum because there's no way I'm going to try and mangle these two sounds to make one kick drum. So in this situation, here's the purpose of this whole little mini tutorial. When you find out that you have a massive low end problem and your bass line and your kick are clashing and it's like overloading and flubbing out and you can't feel the bass notes and the whole low end is like... Don't fight it trying to like do some crazy contortion. I can tell by looking at channel 1 right here. I heard there was a low end problem. I knew it was not working. I tried to solve the problem by picking a low kick drum and adding a high layer and trying to get the bump to come through, and it just was not working at all. So this whole mess right here on track 1 was old Studio Steve trying to solve this problem. What I did now, today, this morning, in like 2 seconds, put in this one. By itself, it's just kind of a high kick drum. Well, not high, but I mean higher than that sub stuff. did just a little EQing to get it to bump around 65 hertz, which is above the lowest note of the sub. And check this out. It's like totally clear. You can hear the kick drum, you can hear the sub bass, you can hear them both, and they both feel like, oh, this is going to be an easy track to mix. Stick them up in the track, and you're good. So the point of this story is don't fight against trying to like use some miraculous EQing and compression and side chaining and multi-banding and tuning and all this stuff to fix the wrong kick drum. Just get a different kick drum sample. At this point in our lives, everybody has basically an infinite number of kick drum samples to find for free and choose from. So don't try to force it. Hey, Ian Waters, I want to give him a shout out for putting up a post asking for tracks to play in his mix set, because DJ Waters has a bunch of gigs on the radio, driving to the studio via the pub in preparation. I think it's super cool that, Ian, that you put up a post asking people to share links to music that you can play on your radio show. That is like the ideal perfect situation for how I would like to see this group functioning. Is like, we make tracks, people perform, you ask other people for tracks, and you get new music to play in your sets. And that's just great. It's great for everybody. The DJs get new music to play that they already know, so you don't have to go through and analyze new tracks because you know what's going to happen because you heard it already. And producers get music to get exposure for their music. So thank you for standing by with my little tutorial. Let's make sure I got my input coming through. There's that. And now we can begin. We're going to start it off with Alex B. Got some pre-masters ready to go. Two Souls and Forgotten Valleys. And hopefully my little mix we just listened to is not going to be a bad reference. So let's see what we got. Okay, you're hearing that through my laptop mic, my laptop speakers. Always with the audio interfaces. Now you know my secrets. And reset. Here we go. EQ flat. Okay, this level's a bit low. I'm going to pump it up a bit, which is good for a pre-master, not a problem.
If I could just stay here tonight, I feel so safe here in your arms. Don't let go. My heart's racing. My hands are shaking. Don't let go. Don't let go. Don't let go.
The voice and the bass and the effects and everything are really perfect. The little hi-hats and snaps feel quiet to me. That voice is beautiful. That's great. The synths in the bottom, but the percussion I think is too low. That little tick, 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 tick. Here's mono. Everything stays in place, yeah. Let me go for the high shelf. Yeah, the hi-hats and the snare drum feel like... I'm almost going to ask if you made a mistake on the export or something, because none of your other tracks sounded like this, and this percussion layers are like almost like missing. That open hi-hat coming in. Or this possibly could come from if somebody was producing on a system that had really, really bright monitors with like really exaggerated high frequency in the monitors. then your mix, you might be accidentally compensating by having less high frequency in your mix. So I'm wondering what you were monitoring on and how you were listening to this when you were mixing. Good ear candy. I hear that little filter going. DJ Waters, good point. Sometimes hi-hats can overpower the track. That's definitely something to watch out for. So let's keep going through. Has a dramatic feel with the bells and the piano. Totally good vibe. And especially the voice is like perfect. Yeah, I would put the percussion all across the board, all the hi-hats, claps, snares, layers up louder. Okay, Matt, good point. Makes lower percussion makes space for the synths and the beautiful vocals. Yeah. And the pan motion of the voice coming in and going across and then back is really nicely done. So what I would do is export another mix and just put like version 4 percussion plus 6 or something. And make a reference and just keep everything else exactly the same and just put your percussion bus up. Yeah, Oliver, maybe it's that, like if we're hearing only like a tight drum reverb and the main percussion was muted, something like that. I think this feels like an export possible oversight. So I know that's going to be the biggest feedback. Everything else about that track is perfect. Let's check the reverb tails though. And a nice tight fade at the end. Yeah, Alex, maybe check what you just go back to the session and look at exactly what channels were muted when you exported, and then if everything was the way you thought, export another one and kick the percussion group up, or all your percussion sounds up. Even if it sounds weird to you, like make a reference mix, like pull this mix, version 4 pre-master, make a new channel in your production session, pull in this mix and solo it, right? With no effects on the master, and then unsolo it and have that channel muted so you can hear your main mix, and use that as a comparison. So if you take your main mix and make it intentionally drums louder than this reference mix, that's what you would use to define what you should be hearing in live versus what you might be hearing in your studio that sounds right to you. It's kind of hard to do because if you're in a room, you don't know what you're hearing. You have to like use your meters and read stuff. It's kind of like landing a plane in the fog when you can't see. You got to use instruments. Not like I do that, but the analogy is there. Okay, Forgotten Valleys, version 1 pre-master. Let's go back to the beginning. Fade up. Mr. Melvis, what do you mean hi-hat riff like a disco hi-hat? Do you mean for checking levels or chicka chick chick? So far, so good. Whoa. Oh, epic. Oh, I like how that low end came in. One more time. Let's just go through that little clong. Okay, I'm hearing almost the same mix presentation on this track, which is good because that means when you solve that thing, you'll solve it for both tracks. And let me go on the high shelf EQ. That's like a +9 dB boost on the high shelf to get the high shakers and stuff in the right place. And the weird thing is the rest of the mix sounds great. Like the synth group, the vocals, nothing got too bright when I turned up the high shelf. So you could almost take this track and do some mastering to put the high end up higher or brighter. But it would be better to do it in the mix so you don't have to distort your vocals and synths by raising up the high freaks. The high freaks. Okay, Todd, thank you, Mr. Melvis. Underlying movement, gotcha. Scott Burke, good morning. And I like what you're doing with these beats too. The way the beats are changing and getting kind of snappy. Yeah, the bass line, it does sound like a string bass, like a cello, and the 4 bass notes. That's a great harmonic progression. It's like soothing. It keeps going lower, right? Comes right here. Drops down to a deeper note, like, oh. Goes up a little bit, gets you ready. Now another drop. Super deep. That's great. Yeah, arrangement, song structure, flowing for sure. Ooh. So we had even a little variation, unexpected note. I'm digging the solo vibe. It's like an electric piano solo right hand thing, kind of. For the mid-range, the keyboard solo part is a little bit louder than the background vocals. Let me just go back to here. Some of those keyboard notes are really louder than the others. So I think if we can still get to the multi-track mix, I would compress the keyboard in a subtle way so that the notes are not quite as loud when the loud ones hit. And then that would be able to bring the overall keyboard level a little bit back in the mix, and then have the background vocals feel like they're surrounding it more. So that's it. That's an instance of using compression to take the peaks down rather than using compression to take the quiet parts up relative to everything else in the mix. Subtle, but I think it would help a little bit. And some synth instruments, some software instruments are really sensitive to note velocity. So difference of like, you know, a velocity of 75 versus 84 on the MIDI scale of velocity could be like a huge sonic difference. So you might want to edit your MIDI note velocities sometimes. People in general in the world, instead of trying to use audio compression, sometimes the MIDI note velocities are the best place to fix a software synth when it feels like it's really like radically different in dynamics. I'm full of good ideas today, right? Also have kind of a headache up here on top of, oh, right here, this is good. Man, I was talking, let's go back through. It felt like it got into like a loop around here. Right here. That's the signal for the build-up. Yeah, man, that's gonna work. That drop is totally gonna work. Comes in underneath you and it's like boom, boom, boom. I even got a goosebump. I don't know if you can see. Jeez. Shepard's put, I want more of the monk sound. M-O-N-K. I'm not sure what the monk, I'm not sure what you mean, but okay. No, my rave sweeties were beer last night. That's why I have this headache. I went to this Brazilian restaurant and it was super nice food. I got a little bit of all that, a little dehydration going on. I didn't get fucked up though. Yeah, so Alex, the vibe is totally awesome. Check the keyboard on this one and overall raise the beats, hi-hats and snaps and snares up more. Basically, if you like them this way, then what in the mix what you should do is put them up where it's too loud for you, make a reference mix compared to this one, and then somehow get the beats a little bit more like snappy coming through. Track totally flows. Composition's great, chord progression's great, the sounds are awesome. The feel, the world that it's in is like it's all very together, so 99% done. That bass note. Down at F sharp. Ah, beautiful. That's how you end that one. That buzz coming in. Look at that. Oh my god, synthesizers are so freaking cool. I just can't get enough. Beer plus meat sweets. Meat sweats. Shepard is a bit of a monk-like sound right before the first full kick. Was that clong thing? Oh, I hear that at 58. Oh, that? Right before the big gong, before the big impact, there's a low voice going, oh. Good ear, Shepard has pulled that out. Okay, so that's another cool little note. Possibly more with the low throat chanting. Yes, I agree with Scott. Definitely subtlety. Amazing vibes, super cool. Please get those hi-hats and everything up a little bit louder, and we got 2 tracks to play in a set together. So speaking of changing the subject, Mr. Melvis coming through with some acoustic guitar and vocal packs. Let's see what we got. Let me push this up a little louder.
In the eye of the storm, you keep become you're all I wanted. You're all I wanted.
I'm getting a real metallic sense on the bass.
I got it. I know I'm saying
That is a little bright compared to the acoustic guitar. Okay, those toms were coming through loud. Let me see. Doom ba doom. Those toms are a little too loud. So basically, the bass guitar is like a real bright metallic. Almost sounds like playing with a pick, and that's wrapping over to where the frequencies of the acoustic guitar are sitting mainly. So to do this justice, I would say like put the acoustic guitar up really bright and in front and dull down the bass guitar so we don't hear like each note pluck attack. Because that bass guitar feels like almost like in a Metallica song where you want to hear those notes coming through like like literally metal guitar. And this music with the soft voice and the acoustic like finger picking. I think the bass could be a nice like much more like a round finger pick kind of. Okay, played with a pick. I heard it. If you could just run through and do that bass take with your fingertips with no fingernails, bite them down. You know, play all up close by the fretboard. Do not back on the bridge. And then, what's this? Are you playing this guitar or was that a sample? It'd be great if you were playing this. Because it sounds like it's the style of finger picking where the thumb is playing the bass note on the acoustic. One more. I want to hear the guitar alone. Yeah, doom ba dooba boom. You can hear the thumb is plucking bass notes. Oh, Sheppers, thanks for hanging out. See you later. It's a cool song though. The song flows. Chords are nice. It's super locked in the groove. Timing's great. Okay, Ian is hearing a pitch problem with the vocal not matching the guitar. Oh, a Native Instruments picking library. Okay. She almost sounds like the Cranberries singer. And those toms gotta come down. If those are separate in the drum mix. I know I've said before that drum breaks should be nice and loud and come through the mix, but for this style of track where the drums are in the background, keep the toms subtle more. Otherwise, the drums are cool. That fill sounded better right there. I think it's a thing where the scale that she's singing is not matching the chords exactly at the time. Like a minor scale on top of a major chord or something like that. Yeah, it could be warping pro mode, yeah. But honestly, the voice didn't come through as like a problem for me. And then I'm curious too, how did you get the bass signal in? Are you miking an amp on that or did you go DI? Because if you wanted to like run that through an amp and then, you know, numb down your amp tone with some amp head maneuvers and finger pick it, you could do a lot of cool stuff with bass tone on that. Overall though, it's definitely workable. Feels like a nice triad, like 3-piece band with a singer up front. Guitarist maybe sitting down with his legs crossed. I set up so many freaking acoustic shows. Like I'm sort of using a mixed blueprint in my mind of what I see on stage, like bassist, guitar, drummer, singer in front. Maybe the singer's playing guitar, but usually people who are finger picking like this don't sing quite so much when they're finger picking. All right, so give that a play. Play around. Definitely do the bass tone, and then see what's happening with the vocals if it's a warping issue or something like that. And definitely bring the toms down, and then the next mix will be different. Precision bass library sequenced. Ah, for some reason I thought you were playing the bass guitar. Now I'm totally confused. But anyway, you got your mix notes. Mark Troy, 100%. Add to the Spotify playlist. Love the vibe. Yeah, that's like Sunday morning scrambled eggs music. Like waking up. All right, Matt Schultz. Let's go to Jupiter. We got EQ flat. We got stereo. We got faders. We got bass. Oh, the dub chords. And congratulations on your Insectorama compilation, Matt. I saw that. Volume 1 of their April series. Matt Schultz has a track on this Insectorama dub techno compilation. Ian Waters, there's nothing wrong with Steve. He's really good. He just needs some realignment in places. I think that applies to all of us. good atmospheric wispy details. Ooh. That low end came in perfect. Here's a really good example of where the kick drum and the sub bass are working together. You can see the peak of the kick is like right there at 52. And when that sub bass comes in, it sort of amplifies the kick drum a little bit lower. And the thing that makes it work is the sub bass is a very short duration. And it's on an upbeat in between the kick drums. So when you want to put the same sub bass sound in the same frequency, the best thing to do is separate them at different times and have both be a short duration. So, then they can share the sub frequency. Not like I was doing in that track at the beginning where it was all together at the same time. Slow and laid back, 115, let's tap it out. What's the BPM? Oh shit, I wish I didn't see that. It's 110. I'm still tapping. Hard to do this in the breakdown too. Ooh, I tapped a 110.07. Drums are a little dry. Feels like that snare could have a little more of a reverb on it, right? Good feel right here. Yeah, good relaxed vibe. DJ Waters feels like 0 BPM to me. 220. Okay, a really clear reverb. I like how the synth layers keep kind of like evolving into each other. Is this one? That one? There are like 3 synth layers that like come and go on top of each other. Let's go mono. And stereo. Oliver, maybe louder with the noise layer. Yeah, the background. That's my high EQ. That background wispy thing. Very nice. You could even add another 5 or 10 seconds of only that noise at the very end. It sounded like it was getting squiggly, like. Is that water moving around or something? Matt, really nice. And you know what? When you get a track mastered, the reverbs do tend to get to feel a little bit louder as part of that compression and raising. Like mastering helps pull out the details, and some of the very background sounds can get more to your awareness. So honestly, this one could be done, or you could maybe tweak a couple of things. I was wondering if that main snare could get centered, because I'm hearing it left, a little bit left, and then in mono, it's there. But it can live on the left side a little bit. Overall, the stuff we're talking about is like less than 1% of what's happening in the track. So this one, for version 1, actually, that's pretty damn good. Song flow is perfect. Structure is great. Feel is great. Sounds are great. You know, add 10 seconds of extra atmosphere on the end. Maybe bring up the atmosphere a little bit. Maybe a little more reverb. Those are kind of personal details. Mainly, you got the sounds in the low end just really in good shape. So nice work with that. Okay, Mindbender. Oh, that was Rain with erosion cranked up and 1 or 2 liters of reverb. Cool. Scott, dry drums work in the context of the big dubs. Yeah, Matt, definitely your style. I mean, it's like every single track we ever heard from you has arrived almost done. So that's good. Okay, this is version 2 of a new Mindbender track. How many cubic liters of reverb does Mindbender have? Some little distortion on the top of the kick there. I'm gonna leave it here and see if it drops louder. Ooh, what's that bass? What's that bass? Okay, now I'm bringing it up. Wow, this is weird. A little pitch drift and like. Now the bottom's big. Opening it up. And the delay on the arc. Delay. Sometimes a delay sounds like a person is breaking off little pieces of the sound and dropping them and they're bouncing. Like if you took like a marble and dropped it on a cement floor and it went like da 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 da. Oof. Let me roll that back. Hold on. At the beginning I didn't like the kick drum, but now that I hear what the sub is doing, the kick has a nice space to come through. Ben Hunt, put this track in the bathtub is filthy. checking the comments from last week. Yeah, Matt, thanks for the details on the snare rim shot delay. That delay on the arpeggiator on the 303, man. I don't know, I think it's definitely an improvement. The low end seems clear. Kick and the sub are working together in their own space. The detuning, so that's an acquired taste. Not everybody likes it. Hey, Taislakos. And more, by the way, my broadcast faders are like really low on the board. This feels like it's already been hit with a little mastering coming through. It's up there. Very blippy. So right here, is that the Yuhei Diva that's doing the pitch drift? Slammed, yeah. I like the detuning because it gives you something to follow, like a wave. It's like the pitch just kind of keeps continuously changing. Now it's like going back up and kind of catching almost like a build-up. Feels like there's kind of a drop coming here. Oh wow, Mark Troy, that's a cool tip. Use the auto-tune on a detuned sound to keep it within the scale of a key signature that you're working with. That's crazy. It's like break it and then unbreak it at the same time. Like, okay, right here the kick drum sounds great. You can really feel the top and the mid. And atmosphere. Let's just go back to the beginning. That's some cool atmosphere too. At the beginning, I hear like a bit crush distortion on the kick, which didn't quite make sense to me until the rest of the track kicked in. Let's just compare some. So there's our big sub at like 63, 65. Maybe that's a C. We had our kick bump down here in the 40s. So we have a constant bass, but a pretty good separation between different frequency ranges. And I think the LFO filter sweeps right here. That's my favorite part. However many layers it took to do that. That was super cool. But I meant arpeggiator sound with the filter sweep on it. All right, Schrodinger's detune. It's auto-tuning a detune, yeah. DJ Water is not feeling it. Yeah, you know. So, Mark Troy, major problem is mix balance, too much mids compared to the low end. Don't like the bright kick. Like at this point, I don't notice the kick has that crunch problem. It was only at the very intro that I thought, oh, that's kind of an unusual kick. And then at the end, again. So, by the way, nice swing on the percussion. Mind bended, you know, maybe like take down some of the high frequencies on the kick drum. But overall, the track works with me. And especially on one thing that we hear sometimes is that in Mindbender tracks, the synth group takes over the percussion and the hi-hats and snares get kind of washed out. But all the way through, this one has a nice strong clap thing. And then the synths are super bright, so they almost function like 16th note hi-hats. Ticka, 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 ticka. Which is a cool combination. So details. Pretty much almost done. I mean, mix 2, you could put that out. You could play that. That's very playable already. And people have different preferences if they like detuning or not. So, you know, you got to find the right set to work it with. Now, everybody likes time travel. Nobody likes my jokes. Play, damn it. I'm pressing the play button. Okay, I'll press it again. Maybe I'm not in the future yet. Oh my God, what are you doing? Refresh. So how's everybody doing today? I hope my stream didn't just die. Okay, is Jens here? How? Sorry, something went wrong. DJ Waters broke SoundCloud. I'm having an official nothingness moment. Let's experience nothingness together. Enter into the sound of my voice. Let all your problems drip away like water. Okay, now I just want to make sure this one isn't going to start playing and give me a freaking train wreck. Okay. My robotic dance moves. With the lip. Yeah, man.
Every once in a while, a new generation will witness a glimpse of the future.
Yes, man. This groove is freaking solid. Ticka, 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 ticka. Okay. These plucks are cool. I want to hear that transition again. There was something kind of a low frequency blurb that came in there. Is that a new bass line? Okay, like we got a new bass rumble layer in there that's kind of dark. But I'm still feeling the kick, so let's let this roll. I like that lead. I'm like waiting for some 3D shit to come from around behind me. All right, that's that extra bass layer. Dooga, 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 dooga. You maybe don't need all the low frequency in that bass part, but the kick is mixed loud in the track, so it works. We're sneaking into Shepherd's territory on this one. Dig it, dig it, dig it, dig it. All right, we're gonna roll back. Something really cool happened right there. There was a little transition that had a reverse cymbal crash, a crash, and then a new high frequency layer of something. So it sounded like it all blended into one thing, like I want to identify that a little more. Listen to how the crash transforms into a new sound. It's like the tail of the crash becomes a white noise layer, and then it gets filtered. Right here. And then it's pulsing. That is a cool effect. Crash drum, crash cymbal, tail of the crash turns into like a white noise thing with a pulsing filter on it. Or maybe it was sidechain or something. That was good. I'm gonna steal that idea. And I like it. It's simple, but it's definitely full. Got the pan.
Every once in a while, a new generation will witness a glimpse of the future.
Yeah. And the mix has space. It feels like a clean mix. The bottom has that kind of psytrance feel of like forward and reverse crash with a riser. That was a great, great mix. Scott Berg's snare roll sounded off. I noticed that too. In the breakdown, when the snare came in, it had a different kind of rhythm. And by the way, this bass sound, I would EQ it up till about 70 hertz. Just take some of the frequencies below 70 hertz, lower, and right there, 257. Because here's our swing is like, up until now, our swing has been like, right? And then the snare at 257. So the swing is different. The snare roll is coming in like, but before that, it's been like, so those two are like a little bit of a rhythmic clash. By this point, it works. And the drop is comfortable, so what I would do is just not bring in the snare right away. There's a crash, there's some synth stuff, there's plenty of synths going on. We don't need the snare roll yet. Like 312. You could even wait till like 312 and then just have the snare ramp in from there, because that's a really long snare build and it just doesn't have to be so long. So we'll have a little couple seconds to like let go of the past rhythm. Then we get into here. Then we come in here.
Every once in a while, a new generation will witness a glimpse of the future.
I could have that vocal a little bit louder, just so the new generation doesn't miss their chance. And this is feeling really good. That little tiny tap could be louder. Not that one. This one. deep, minimal, groovy beat, lots of synth effects, lots of ear candy. Ooh, the ride cymbal's coming in there. Just for fun, let's go mono. Like almost nothing changes. Stereo, mono. I like the build-ups. I like those transitions, little moments.
Every once in a while, a new generation will witness a glimpse of the future.
Good, lots of good comments about the stabs and stuff. Ooh, we got Mighty Vibrations back in. What's up, Viv? Sounds like modern minimal tech, yeah. I love these. And the kick is so slamming. Really good mix on the bottom. I'm feeling it all the way through. Modern minimal tech side trance. And this one thing, it almost has that rhythm of Tainted Love. Sometimes I feel like I should run away. I love it. The build-ups are definitely working really well. So, DJ Waters. The best thing that's happening here is that you're using the structure and the form of techno tracks in a really good way. So there's sections of beats, little breakdowns, build-ups, beats back in. And I can hear that you're doing it differently from your Frenchcore tracks, which is really good. And the mix is solid. This is playable. This is like totally playable already. Yeah.
Every once in a while, a new generation will witness a glimpse of the future.
A little louder with the vocal, and it's going to need a little bit of EQ at like.
Will witness a glimpse of the future.
There's a little bit of a high frequency chirp on the s and ch, so kind of like a de-esser type thing. And the main thing also to be aware of is that your rumble bass layer down here, it's pretty big, below 70 hertz. And the mix sounds good, but when that rumble first entered, like here we had the kick by itself, and the bottom is like totally big and clean and clear. And the first time the bass line came in, I felt like the mix got dirty. And it continued to work okay, but I think you could take some of the lows out of this bass right here. Suddenly at this point, it's like, and it's not bad enough to be flubby. It's not like farting out the bass, but you can have the bright, rumbly kind of like that'll come through very clearly, even up at like 90 or 100 hertz. So just get some of the sub bass out of that bass line thing. Just the techno heads who finally figured it out and looked over the shoulder of the old progressive Psy. And we all went to Goa and played off cassette tapes. The end. All right, Ian, bring that back on Wednesday. That's a crazy spectrum wave during the bass line breakdown. I know the spectrum, there's a lot going on in that sub bass sound. It's nasty. All right, I'm not sure if Jens is here. I haven't seen him in the chat. We got Tice. We got Scott Burke was here. Denats is not here yet. Randy Adams is here, right? I think he put. Randy, thanks for getting your track in early. And anybody else who's not here? Oh, Nick's here. Gets nothing. Okay, this is not, I'm not being favorites here. I'm just trying to make sure I play tracks from people who are listening. Oh, DJ Waters, 2 bass tails, so 1 will do instead, and that problem be resolved. Yeah. Great job. And also, Ian, stretching out to try different formats and different productions. It's a great thing to do. For anybody who's listening later in the replay or whatever, try producing in a totally different genre and just see what happens, because you can really take you in some new techniques that make your world better, your production world. right, just checking your mix notes. We got a doubled bass line at an octave higher, some percussion tweaks, new transition breakdown. Scott is the master of the D-tune. I like the pulse. What's a BPM, y'all? Timpani sounds good, totally. We're gonna roll that back. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, the first version of this timpani percussion, when we first heard it, the sound was very different. Now it's sounding good. Yeah. Don't. Oh my God, you nailed that, Scott. We were talking about the timpani needing to be shorter and brighter so we get the rhythm and the percussion of it without the whole tail going wow. And that is super. Maxime, yes, I played the whole intro on mono. Sorry, guys. Maxime gets the ear award for the day. We can reset the beginning and listen again. I love how you mix the timpani. It just feels like a cool, kind of murky sound. And it doesn't overlap and get in the way. Totally. I like the airy vocal too. The voice is a little bit wispy. She feels like breathy, you know, it's not like a big loud beat. Yeah, Ben, exactly. Doesn't take over the track. And the way the tone of this synth and the vocal really fit together in a night. I like it here without the little wood block. Perfect. Put that sound up front. Ah ha ha. Okay. Shit. I don't want to stop, but I want to stop. Okay, so this was a really unique build. It actually got like, it really took me to this like pause moment. I was like, whoa, everything has come to a full stop. This one synth is okay by itself, but when the vocal comes in louder, the mids get a little peaky. So that detune is so cool, and that synth is a great sound. When the voice ramps up in that breakdown and the synth is big, what I would do is I had the feeling I wanted to just manually ride that synth lower with the vocal, push the vocal up, and then have the synth come back up louder for the detuned part. So maybe you might want to automate that. Just don't have the voice and the synth combined all around. I had the mouse around 1K and I was like, oh, it's getting kind of like, not screechy, but like peaky in the mid-range. So give the voice a little bit more dominance when she's in. And then what you could do is you could duck the synth lower, and then as the voice finishes, have the synth get louder and detune. So you put more focus on the detune, like this. I think that would be cool if the synth, as the detune happens, it also gets crazy loud. Personally, you know. Yeah, totally a nice drop. Bottom is nice. Whoa, 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 whoa. That upbeat in between the kicks. Oh my gosh, we're at 4.5 minutes. I thought it was like 2 minutes in. We're at like 4 minutes already. Oh, it goes 8 minutes. Damn. Nice effects, feedback delay. There's a cool new layer. Oh, that was cool. That new layer got brighter and came in like a ping. That's perfect. Creeps up, takes over. Keep this section fresh. The timpani thingy is the best, I know, right? We're at a new melodic high note that we haven't heard yet, which is great. It's like a melodic climax. Oh, perfect. Oh, and the little pings are on top. Perfect. So structurally, everybody watching at home, when you got a long piece of music, you save some interesting element to bring in later, like in the second half or the last third, so that now we're in the groove. We're still in the groove, but this new little ping melody is a totally fresh sound on top, taking us to a new place. And check out where it came in. It didn't come in all high like that. It came in sneaky. Listen for the entrance of that rhythm. Right now we're all dark and low, right? Hey Ian, have a great set tonight. Drop us the link for the radio show so we can support and take our clothes off at home. And listen at home. Here it is, 5 minutes. I first heard this and I was like, yo bro, make that sound louder. That's not loud enough. And guess what we get? So 5 minutes after a whole minute, that sound has grown up and taken over to be the lead element coming in here. And now it's on top with that ping. That's great. Okay, that wood block. Where 7 minutes. This is some live set kind of shit, man. You could take a crowd with you for sure for 8 minutes flowing through this, the way it's structured. The bass line has that forever beat. Bump, bump, bump. That whatever you did with the doubled up octave, higher octave bass line is really good. All right, good. The wood block. That's in the beginning, right? Okay. Does anybody else think that wood block is too loud? Because for me, I noticed at the beginning and I was like marking out where it's at. If that's at 2.9 and 3.8 kilohertz, that's where I would use a tight notch EQ. I mean, the tightest notch you can get, just at those ringing frequencies that are like the ping, like the ching, ching, ching. Because when that wood block is there, it's just feeling louder than the hi-hats and the snare. And there was a point when it dropped out. Here, I think I remember I said like, oh, I like it where the wood block drops out. So it's an effective sound because it really cuts through, like super bright, and you can really hear it. So I would either pull the volume down on that or put in a notch EQ at those 3.9, those real spiky mid frequencies where our ears are sensitive. Because it works rhythmically and stuff, just don't let it be too loud relative to the other sounds. And you got your notes on the rest of it. Great track, man. Scott Burke has the style of going through phases where it's almost like we have two songs in one song, but this one doesn't have a problem like that. It's like good, and it evolves over time. I love how that ping lead came in. Bow, 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 bow. You probably heard me say this before. The best kind of a sweep transition effect is to take a synth that's been in the track for a while and then open it up, make it louder, modulate it, tweak it, filter it, do something so that it becomes a riser in the transition like this. Bow, bow. And takes over, because then it can just keep going and be an element of the track. And this here is like, I think it's my favorite part. Bow, 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 bow. And the whole mix feels nice and empty, nice and big, bottom is clear. Everything's good, so let's keep moving on. Scott, nice job, get some claps. That one's gonna be done next week, ready for mastering on Wednesday at 2:30 p.m. What do we got? Randy Adams. Randy, you still here? What's happening with Randy? Now we have EQ flat and we're in stereo. Sorry for playing half your track in mono there, Scott. And especially what you did with the timpani was freaking spot on. Really makes it unique and cool. Ooh, Randy now. That's a nice round kick. Ooh. Got that bounce. This is fast. Are we at 28? Like 130. Last week we had Congo Week, remember that? I'm listening into the kick drum rhythm has a double thing. And I'm trying to identify exactly what sounds are making that double. It's a good rhythm. It's cool. Okay, here was the bass alone. Check. And I think what we have is the bass line is hitting before the kick. Okay, it's the bass line hitting before the note. So if the rhythm is on here, the bass is coming earlier, da boom, ba boom, ba boom, and then the kick is coming after it. So it's like dum dum ba ba boom, boom ba ba boom. It's really helps me a lot to figure out which sounds are making the double pulse, and then figure out how they are working. Matt Schultz, shaker is too loud, or maybe yeah. So let's just get back into the groove here. Ba boom. It's hard to make a double bump that fast and tight at low frequency. Shaker is a bit loud. Let me go on the EQ here. I can take down a lot of high shelf before it feels too much. And you can see that brightness up on top at 13 kilohertz. I like mid-range. I like the conga slaps. These could be louder. This mid-range percussion. That was like around like 900 hertz or something. Because the track has a bit of a smiley face, like huge bottom and a really bright top, and the mids are a little like scooped out. Oh, what was that? What was that? Let me try something. I'm gonna take the I'm gonna go on the board, take the low shelf and the high shelf EQs down a little bit, and boost the volume, and see what happens with our mid range. Mr. Melvis, you leaving? Get out of here. Okay, just took the lows and the highs down and pushed up the broadcast volume. With a little touch of boost in the mids, like somewhere around 1,000. Here's the mids out and mid boost. So Randy, basically with this mix, the track is great, the flow is great. Take your mix and bring the synths up to the front a little bit more. With that, and this lead, that's a great sound. The hi-hat's a little too bright, and the kick is just huge, you know? Nice ear candy, totally. See, that conga sounds good now with the mids boosted. Good to me. Yeah. Definitely, that lead needs to be nice and loud. How are you guys, how are you hearing it out there? Does it feel like that bottom was super big and super bright on top? Let's go back to EQ flat. So here's the original EQ. It's still playable, but it would just be like a big bottom track and you wouldn't get all the detail on the mid area. Yeah. So this is playable, and it could be you could have this put out for mastering and have the master EQ and stuff make it feel like the pressure levels are okay in the mids and everything. But I would really go to the multi-track, take the kick and bass line down a little bit, bring up the synths a little bit, definitely bring up the conga, and yes, one more. I didn't expect that. Come on. I like how that sound keeps going. Okay, let's see. 2 smiley face. Yeah, mid boost brings clarity. La 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 la. Bringing out the details in the mids helped. Okay, yeah, Randy. So take the low end elements a little bit quieter. Watch out for the shakers that are like really. Bring those down and just get the mid sounds up a bit. And then Matt Schultz chord sounds louder, more reverb to fill the space, and everything else. But Randy, your grooves are always solid. Everything Randy puts through track feedback is like ready to play with the groove. And I like it that all your grooves, all your music feels like it's coming from the same world of sound. So it feels like you're building up a bunch of tracks that could really go together for a deadly live set. Mark Troy, I like minimal tracks, but there's space for some synths in the mids. I felt like that at one point right here, around 4 minutes, there was space for something to happen. So maybe that lead sound you could like tweak it a little bit more or something. Around here, I was sort of kind of wondering what's going to happen. Then we got some ear candy, so it was okay. But there is a little space to add something else if you don't want it too minimal. It's not a problem, but there's like, it's nice that there's space. Okay, Tice Hope. And this is coming from your library of archive tracks now that you've got some headspace to work. Got that W vibe, EQ flat, we're in stereo. And look at this curve, this is like big bottom, nothing else. Nice. Yeah, dub vibes, feeling good. $128. Ride cymbal a little bit louder. And that snare, honestly, the clap crack thing, you can just see that whole curve of that thing. It's a little tiny bit loud considering the atmosphere of the track. That one clap is like a bit loud. Okay, good. Now the ride's getting big. Yeah. Oh, I like it. That totally rose up out of nowhere. Great groove. The pulse is like oh wank, oh wank, oh wank, oh wank. What is the sub bass doing? Seems like it's a drone kind of a sub. Right? Yeah, last week also, thumbs up. Could take a bit of rolling bass.
being able to take these days off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days
I hope we get the word deeply by
off
itself.
from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days
deeply.
off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days
Deeply.
off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days off from your regular life to inquire really deeply.
Deeply. Catch that one word deeply before the break or before the drop comes in. Like she says the same thing fully, the full loop, too many times, I think. So maybe play the full loop a few times and then catch the word deeply and just let it be like deeply. Everybody will love that. Nice message to it.
To being able to take these days
Yeah, man.
off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take
Nope,
these
sorry, is that a
days
nope on the vocal edit?
off from your regular life to inquire really deeply.
Does this lady know the white pantsuit lady? Hi, girls.
From your regular life
I just got off the plane.
inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days
Yeah, man.
off from your regular
It's like bubbling under the surface.
to being able to take these days off from your regular life.
I'm impressed. This shit is like flowing in an unexpected way. It's like the atmosphere is pulsing. Whoa.
From your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to take these days
Okay.
off from your regular life to inquire really deeply, to being able to
That crack is taking me out because it's so bright. So that one crack sound has that big curve. We saw it at the very beginning. I would definitely change the EQ on that one sound and take it a little bit lower, but keep the effects up because it comes through as like a very noticeable like wash, like out like that. It's like it's echoing off a really big space, which I like. So I like the presentation in the mix, but just the frequency range is just, and here it gets filtered down, so it's good. So whatever the dry full sound is, don't have that be so bright at 3,000, 2,500. And somehow the whole track has been growing the whole time. It's still like, whoa. Work on the bass so we have a solid bass feel to the groove. Yeah, I was just about to, like that drone sub thing, I guess, is going to be the bottom. Tweaking some sounds. Oh, really nice. Now we're back to that like atmospheric dubby space. Yeah. You could have that side trance rolling bass line of did it. You could. I'm not saying you should, but mountaintop vibes. I think some people want to remix this. Growing Things is a bit Hans Bieger style, playing filters on different layers. Yeah, really, really good. My main thing, and I felt this from the first sound, is let's just see that snap sound. That's good. That. Okay. Right there, 1.3K. And interestingly enough, you hear me say all the time, 3,000 is where our ears are really sensitive, or 4,000. But guess what? If you take it one octave lower, that's also gonna like kind of trigger that same sensation, even though it's an octave lower. So half of 3,000, 1.5, or 2,000, we can still be sensitive to that if it's got the brightness. You can see that hump of that sound is popping up right there. So my biggest thing for this whole track is just get that one clap thing, the source first one, a little bit less like sharp, so that all the echoes and everything else feel right. And I would take it where with the EQ, doing a little EQ dip would serve the purpose of lowering the volume in the mix too, because you're taking out the most resonant part, which is kind of cool. Did we get the sub bass by itself anywhere? Okay, let's go right there and hear that. What's the sub sound like alone? Feels like overall people are looking for a little more sub. Looks like we're on the note G, so 100 hertz and 50 hertz. Maybe you could make the sub bass line louder and then sidechain it hard so we really have like a sub. Whoa, whoa. But man, the smoothness of the track is super cool. I think my favorite was in this end part here. Like those synth layers were kept growing. Whoa, whoa. And around it, there's this reverb that's like, I really feel like the bass is kind of bubbling in the front, and then there's like clouds around it in a good way. Oh, Pivclit, I didn't see you. Okay, you said, I love that clap, sounds fantastic. Okay, well. And that kick is nice and buttery. Amazing. Nice work. That sounds good. Minor mix tweaks, and export the stems and share it with people, because if you're open to that, I think people could have a good time remixing it. But up to you. All right, Ben Hunt. And what do we got? 1:30. Good, right on schedule. A couple more tracks. Thanks for sticking around. Do. Play. EQ flat. Here we go. Was this like 90? What did you say, slow-mo chronic or something? I just tapped 97.97. Oh, Mark Troy, focus on the bass. Don't touch anything else. Wow, it is slow-mo. Sounds like the knife. Good. The slow-mo chugger. Drums are a little bit dry, like if we could get a little bit of a drummy reverb on there. Scott Burke is coming with all caps on this one. I like how the synths are kind of opening up here. Whoa, were there some low floor toms in there? Boo-doo, boo. What's that? I hope we get that layer by itself. I hear some low frequency kind of synth drums, doo-doo-doo-doo, that are doing something cool, but they're buried in the bass line. And if you could get those up louder, that's a sound I would definitely distort. Those low ones, if you get some fuzz on there, they're gonna totally cut through the mix. It's cliche to say it, but that's what you would do to get that sound out, to separate it from the bass line so it doesn't feel like a muddy low frequency thing. It feels like, I mean, try it. Like fuzz those out and have the saturation make them louder. Take a little of the low frequencies out. You get it like. Great vibe in this one. Good. Opening up. Yeah, those toms. Now I like the clap is like super dried up front and it's the only thing like that. Like, interesting, Mark Troy missing a long release element. There is space on top for a lead that could be up top like those toms to keep going at the end and be like really big. Boo doo boo boo. Nice ending, cool. Yeah, definitely get those toms up and keep them going when the bass line. If we could have a section of only toms with no bass line just to hear what they were doing. I would go crazy with those. Put a little like saturation on there and then like jam them upwards into a limiter so they're just like goof, goof, goof. Okay, there's some pads in there that you could make a bit louder. Maybe yeah, to like, there's room in the high frequencies. You know, the mix is kind of, it opens up in places. Like here, you know? But overall, it's got like a kind of a darker flavor where there's room for some more high frequency stuff on the pads. That choral sound, yeah. I agree, Matt. Don't mess with the arrangement. Just get some of the upper tweaks. Feels like you've been lurking about with the Mindbender character on this track a little bit. And I could hear the vocal a little bit louder. I like how she's mixed in with the everything else. That underwater vocal. Doesn't need to be too much louder. Maybe if there was more high frequency on the voice at the same volume, so it was like, I don't know. Those are minor details. So bring this back. I think this could be done next week. Vibe is great. Feeling is great. Sounds are cool. Flow is good. Arrangement's good. Stays interesting. Stuff is tweaking and flowing and moving around. So pretty good. slow groove too. Boof, boof. And after a while, I kind of forgot that it was slow. It actually feels like groovy, which is really good. Okay, DNB from Nick Lavalley. Hey, great timestamps. This guy is making crazy ass comments in Discord. Right there again, that 2000 hertz. Okay, Matt, good point. Vocal comes up and fades back down. Totally, that's... We're gonna hit the classic 165. Heavy. Big synths. My favorite part about this, and this is one of the one of the challenges for drum and bass is always making the chicka chicka have the right swing. Chicka chicka. Chicka chicka. The little chicka chickas are what make it for me. Chicka chicka. And these are really good. It's a little snare tap. Wow, 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 nice. A little more hi-hats on top though, right? High frequencies. I know it's a SoundCloud link or whatever, but the synths are super big and bright, so the hi-hats could be louder. Yeah. We got some piano. Act it out. Great work with the layers. Is that a campfire crackling? And the breakdown. Totally, you're hitting it, man. And 165 is definitely 1996 tempo for DNB. Nice breaks. Nice glitches. Good, good, good. Yeah. Those are good mute gaps. Let's go back. There's like a... The way the kick comes through and the synths stop and then come back through. Yeah, really nice mid-range synth group mixing and edits and glitches. Good sound design. I think the main snare is a bit heavy and dark in the flavor of it, because the chicka chickas and stuff are like up high. But that main snare is like cook. Feels heavy. So I might take a little of the mid-low area out of that main snare. Cook. Because it just feels like it's bigger than it needs to be. And if that had a little bit more of like a lighter touch and the high frequencies on overall drums are a little bigger, or a little like, brighter, it would be closer to like that liquid DNB vibe where you're just sort of like flowing on clouds and everything instead of like kuh. And the piano was such a nice surprise over here. In this part, could you open up the high frequencies on the piano over time and let the piano get a little bit brighter and kind of rise up? If the piano could open up right here and just get more like tinkly, like crystal piano, that'd be great. One more time for the drop, let's do it. So 2-bar break. Right here is great. I got the high shelf EQ boosted up a little bit. That gap is great. And the synth work is amazing. This is like full stack chords. Wow, wow, wow. And let me stop and illustrate. At the beginning of the day today, I was talking about sub bass and kick drums and how to put them in the right space. We don't hear a lot of drum and bass in here, but this is a great example of where your bass line is huge down bottom, and the kick is coming through like like a little like higher frequency, like a small hard kick instead of like a big boom kick, right here. You can just see the sub bass is holding that low note down here. And the kick is like popping through, but the sub is holding the main low end element. And it's nice you had your mix arranged like that. Again, the piano is a bit underwater. It could open up towards the end for me. Unless you're trying to be Debussy. Oh, is the piano on fire? The piano is burning, we hear it crackling. I wanted some more high frequency crackle on the piano, so I lit it on fire. Oh my God. I also do piano tuning. Wow. So what's Matt saying? A little less dynamics on the bass to make it really dense? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dude, Nick, that's like most of the way done. I think the snare drum could come down a little bit and have a little less low end like we were talking about. And a couple of people had good comments. Really, overall, there is these gaps in the synth and the kick drum together. That little but quow, and the whole synth stack comes in together. Those are so good. Those are so good. I remember I used to talk about drum and bass, those gaps. It'd feel like when you're skateboarding and you like jump off something and there's a second where there's no contact with the ground and then it goes like comes back down and you land. I sort of used to imagine it like that. Like the little gaps are like being up in the air and then you land or snowboarding or something. Abstract. Okay, 2 tracks left. We got Enora. So I guess Jens is not here and Denats is asleep. Let's check out what we're doing from Enora. EQ flat. Oh my God. Okay. Feeling some low mid kind of hump in here. Yeah, Nick, bring that back with a couple tiny tweaks and that's gonna be ready for mastering and push that out to some liquid DNB DJs. Something feels boxy. Go. That sound. not sure. We heard it by itself for a second. The kick alone. Yeah, it feels like the kick drum might be cool. Oh, good, perfect. This sound, doot, 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 doot. The synth is cool, the high frequency one. But this sound, doot, 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 doot. The kick drum has a lot of body in the middle, and that other sound that's going doot, doot, doot is kind of overlapping with the lower mids. So the middle bottom feels kind of like boxy, like. I like these upper ones. Do we get the bass line by itself? Oh. Got one bass hit. So you saw that one bass spike was a bit overlapping. I like the sound design of the high frequency synths a lot. And I get what the groove is doing. The high frequency bleeps are super cool. Something about the bass line and the kick and that low frequency tom thing are overlapping on the low mids, and the bottom doesn't feel together, kind of. I might try changing the kick drum to something that's more of like a deep kick with no harmonics at all, like a kick with almost zero pitch that's just a thump, like boop, boop. So the bass line can be like gong, gong, because the bass line is kind of buzzy, the kick is kind of buzzy. Longer track feedback record's gonna be broke. What are we gonna do, 2 hours? Yeah. And that's a cool sound. Right there. That whole sound. So there's overlapping sounds that all have sort of a bass distortion kind of thing happening. And the kick drum also is a bit of that same thing. Right away from the very, very beginning, I thought, okay, this is going to be, I'm going to want more kick drum isolated and less of the buzzy mid-range stuff. And I'm glad we got that sound by itself at the end here. That's a super cool atmosphere, but I would put it up 100 hertz higher, I mean, it's not math, but get the sub frequencies out of that buzzy part so we can have that atmosphere kind of hovering around. Possibly swap out the kick for a different kick drum, or just have the kick only be this deep thing, and let the these high frequency parts come up more. Those bleeps, they feel super electronic and nice. I like those a lot. And those could sit on top of a big kick, almost like just that bleep and the kick drum by itself, and I would listen to that. And Matt Schultz needs like a ride or something to give it more energy. Yeah, we didn't. Let's see how this break does. I like these bleeps. And Ben Hunt, if you're still here, by the way, what's happening with these toms is almost exactly like what I was envisioning for your toms. A little bit buzzy and like really nice and clear and present. That was great. And those other synths. Yeah, the main thing, I guess, you know what I would just do is take that one sound, the first one I commented on from the end, take the bass out of that sound and export another mix just like that so we can hear what else is happening, because there's a lot of stuff going on that's really cool. Especially the ear candy on top, I really like a lot. And the track would be much better served if it just had the space for all these other sounds to come through. And it feels like the flow is cool. Is that? Yeah, it's 8 minutes, so it's a long jam. And I think you could mute that layer too and have some stuff without it. Because here, that one sound doesn't have to be in for the whole track at all. There's so much other stuff going on, the kick and like the bleeps. So in terms of the big three, if anybody's still watching, we always talk about sound design, song structure, and the mix. Now, right off from the beginning, we had something that I heard as a mix problem, which is kind of a sound design problem where there's one synth layer that has too much low end. So instead of trying to like tweak it in the mix too much, just kind of redesign the sound without all that bass and the synth element. And then we can get into doing the song structure without feeling like that one sound is dominating the whole time. These three layers really overlap. If there's like one sound that needs to change in the mix, then sometimes you don't want to have it as often in the track. But Jens, cool stuff. I like the vibe of it. What are we saying? Missing some drums to help. Well, the drums have like a constant ticky-ticky, right? So some variation in the drums. Because basically throughout the whole track, the drums are doing the same thing. Right? Yeah. Something as simple as a really clear closed hi-hat that comes in, like, you know, after this little moment. Like a nice bright closed hi-hat to just like upgrade the rhythm and change the rhythm. Because when you have the same percussion all the way through, it's like you're on this roller that's like just keeping going along. And for 8 minutes, that's kind of too long to have the same exact percussion all the way through. So for a 2.1, a lot of times when I'm making tracks, I don't even go through and detail the percussion until the very end. Like usually the crash cymbals are the last thing that I add, where I get the groove first, then I build out the track and have the groove have patterns that like mute and unmute and come through and change. And then finally at the very end, I add the tiny details of like a reverse crash or a crash or something. So maybe go through and do a layer of sound design on drums where you build a couple new drum layers, put them in at different parts. So you have like 32 bars of this, and then one drops out and there's a new sound coming in. So we have variation throughout the different minutes of the track, and get that low frequency synth thing tuned up a bit, and the track will totally be cool. And my favorite part is all this, the high frequency synths are really cool. So it would be great if you had a rhythmic foundation that was slamming all the way through, so the high frequency stuff could keep going and be like the main character on top. So last but not least, our man Donats with some grit in the sound. There's a little bit of a little analog dirt in there. Listen to that bass. So what's everybody doing tonight over there in the evening hours? I'm getting ready to go out on my mountain bike. It's getting nice out. Yeah. Let me see what the notes are on this one. All right, so this one has a little percussion work, arrangement tweak, re-recorded the bass line. It's working for me. Got the groove going on. Turn my headphones up. Solid. solid house groove, man. The low end is cool. The bass line is nice and squiggly. Conga is nice in place. Last week was Conga week. Dude, Adam, I think you nailed it, man. Fifth clip, surprise, surprise. The claps, double clap, ta, ta. I'm feeling it. Everything about this track is nicely in place so far. What if Dynasty was spelled wrong and it was actually supposed to be Dynasty this whole time? Dynasty. I love how that bass is moving. Yeah. I'm in the groove. 2 minutes. I like the vocal chops a lot. I think we're done here. I think this one is... I mean, we're 3 minutes in. I could maybe use a kick drum dropout for a little bit. Just like take the kick away, give us a little gap, and then bring it back at 3:35. Scott, DJ Sneak vibes. That's exactly right. I was feeling something about it has that bouncy, kind of happy sort of thing. With that little vocal snip and the house, exactly DJ Sneak kind of vibes. Yeah, man. Fifth clit a bit muddy in the sound. Maybe you could pull up a little high frequency part of the bass line and like clear up the lows a little bit, but I'm not feeling a problem on that. Yeah, if there's one thing I would change is like the buzzy part of the bass line could be a little louder in the track because it's so much fun. That fuzz bass. Oh, I like this echo. Vocal sounds like I want to be a hippie. I want to be a hippie. Yeah, right here the bass fuzz could have more high, like that, like texture stuff. All right, Danats, this is gonna be done next week. This is good. Structure is awesome. We'll go back to 3.5 minutes. All right, so maybe like 200 hertz. Maybe there's a little bit of muck around 200, 250 or something in the bass. So you could like EQ that out and bump up like all this good stuff around like the stuff I was saying was too much in the snare, like 2500. That part of the bass line is really good. It's like that bright, like the teeth on the bass line, if that makes sense. Really cool. So where would we put... Let's count it out. 1, 2, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125 bars, 11, 12. 23 right here. 24, take out the kick, and 25, put it back in. Just like one bar out. And then 333, put in some double kick drum bumps. Here. Boop, boop, boop. Like the OSP style where you get little extra kick bumps in between, just to like signal moments so it's not a totally same 4/4 kick all the way through. Some kick drum double bumps. Okay, I'll make some for you on the mic. Just like that. Oh my God, it's time for me to go outside, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in track feedback. Super special thank you for all the happy birthday messages. It made me feel so good. My phone was pinging so much I turned the damn thing off. And that's going to be it for track feedback this week. We'll see you in Discord. I don't have any big news, except anybody who's doing new releases, make sure you post the link and give us the promo materials that we can share. So if you got 15-second or 30-second audio clips that we can post to our own Instagrams, let us know what those are with some hashtags you want to share. And on Facebook, tag us so we can share your Facebook post and help it get some more traction on your releases. And the best thing you can do is tell us like a week ahead of time, here's my new release, here's the date, here's when it's coming up, so we can help share your tracks. Because the level of quality coming through this group is amazing, and I'm really psyched to see people putting out tracks, and I would like to do everything I can to help promote. It's a little stressful when I see stuff in the middle of the day and I'm doing something else, and I'm like, shit, I really want to share that and help it be awesome. But I can't always do that on the spot. I like to try and organize my promo moments when we can focus on them and really make it good. So have a great weekend. Enjoy your Saturdays and Sundays. I hope all your leaves are sprouting in whatever form those leaves might be coming out at ya. The hell are you guys talking about? Hippies over there? What? The conga coming through? I can't turn this track off, but somehow I have to figure out a way to end this stream, or else I'm just gonna sit here playing tracks forever. Right? All right, dudes, that's it for me for right now. See you next time.